Ooh, okay. Oh. Oh my god, I know exactly what that is now. It's the reverberification. I don't even know what the words you call it. I totally get it out. Oh my gosh, like I am like a living example of boomer tech. Like it was just so I don't like when this thing does this. Like you have to like can I just no, but if I don't wait, I don't even remember if I pause it, does the thing still like come back to me? Or it keeps doing that trippy like Russian doll thing. Boop, 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 boop. Hello, I am really sorry. I didn't understand how it's like. I was like, what is that goddamn squeaky noise? And like, I think I listened to that song like a gajillion marillion times. So I just assumed like it was just something happening in the song that I hadn't really like thought about or heard when it's just not playing in my earbuds. Oh, so like if you just keep doing this, it just keeps. Let's just pause and see if anyone says hello. Like before when I had no idea that people were saying hello all this time. So, anyway, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Wow, what a weekend. And what a like manic Monday. I think I hashtag that LOL Monday Monday or Manic Monday. Hmm. Okay. So yeah, it's been kind of a little bit of a cray day. And I didn't get to do what I wanted to do. But like I knew it was gonna be way too much short notice anyway. So just as an intro, because of what I intend on doing either after this, because I have a important phone call to make, and also just the normal kind of like getting things to move through certain channels. I want to say hello because there's something really fun about doing this. So man, yesterday was crazy, and I know I was spottily on here, and I even did my like sleepy woke time video. I like literally woke up and I was like, oh man, like oh, and I had this like weird trippy dream. You know, like does anyone ever have dreams like it's like especially as a grown up, you're like, man, here I am, and I'm just like. It's not like when you're in school and you have like people like to talk to in school. It's like your memory kind of readjusts for. So I have like a part of the first half of the dream where it's like me and like being in school with like people I went to like maybe high school and middle school, elementary school with. But then later it becomes like me plus like work because it's almost something your conscious like adjusts in like your dream sleep, your REM sleep, your this, that, and the third. Let me just say, my apologies for the sound. Like I literally didn't comprehend that. I'm on the phone. My mom calls. She's like, "Hey, blah blah," and I'm like, "Hey, mom, blah." So like, I feel really embarrassed about this. So, like, it was squeaky. I was like, "Oh, it's just something, blah blah," and I was too distracted. So, my serious apologies for that shit. All right, so I like came back from work today, and I made a hopefully a nice template here in the comment section in the description box. Description box. And hopefully I'll outline this in a way that I can follow that makes perfect sense. He is still not live. I listened to Nick Fuentes earlier. Nick Fuentes is cool. I can't wait to see his American Renaissance speech. I was when he said like last week, Thursday, Friday, he was on there. I was like, no way. I would love to meet Nick Fuentes. Like 19 and like that freaking well, in words like what was it, Murdoch Chan. Fucking bass. Nick Fuentes is cool. I like what he does. He has this very consistent schedule, Monday through Friday, America First. You know, there's someone else, actually more over here on the Black woman side of things, Lady Quietstorm. So, um, I replied to a few other people, and I didn't get around the way I thought I would. But I thought I would make this video first, and then go back and drop like the link to this and link to the other thing and be like, hey, look at these two things. Look at me talk about things. So tonight, I think it's even more imperative that I make sure I move within an organized trajectory. Because a lot of times I'm just like, I'm free birding my thoughts over here. Oh, that's such a pun, such a tangent. Stop, stop. Don't do it. Don't do it. Meh. I won't. But free bird, free willing, free tangent. You run with it in your mind. So if I start here at the very first point, and Vogel, I think I'm like those like two consonants between the E and the H, like really hard. So and Vogelpohl, that could be like a reference to something I should like actually look up, or it could be your actual name. This is so funny. So like maybe a week ago, MsArchDuchess, here, shout out, had a live stream. And she left a comment that's basically saying something akin to, should Black women enlist the ear/help of white men? And I put parentheses in these circles because it was a very specific conversation happening on a MsArchDuchess live stream. And when it happened, I was like, whoa, that's like literally what I've been kind of suggesting and talking about and kind of alluding to in a lot of my videos since day one. And I was like, man, someone else is like articulating this. Like, whoa, what the frick? And I was just very taken aback. Then a certain set of random circumstances happened between like Friday through Sunday that actually kind of put me into like a sphere where that just examining that is possible. So I was very, and I suppose I should have asked, but like, you never know with YouTube and people's, comments, who they are and like what names they're using. And I mean, it's her name title. So like, that's why I said, this is the Anne Vogelfold question, because I actually got to live part of this question to a certain degree over the weekend. And I was just very taken aback by like the kind of, oh, that's not the word, the syncretism. Well, the thing about, I'm just gonna garble the words, so I'm not gonna do it. So it was just funny to kind of like actually live part of that question this weekend. And just thinking about and it was just a very brief like question. I think I responded. I don't even remember what I said back. I was like, well, I said something to Ken, like, yeah, like that's something to consider. And I know, in some live streams, like, you're just commenting, you're going back and forth, you're just like dropping things and like trying to like keep up with the comment section, and then you're on to someone else and like pouncing on certain things. Like I ended up like having a kind of back and forth with 12 Dreams Full about something for another like few comments in the stream. So basically, at the heart of the question she's asking, and this is not to cast aspersions or like assume that I understood the full context of what she was suggesting, but this is literally just me offering like my counterpoint or my fleshing out what I think may have been implied. Again, I could be totally wrong, and that's totally cool too, but I'm just suggesting something because I don't see this happen enough, and I think I can cast or have enough allusions to what may be suggested. So I'm gonna just look at the phone. Oop, I didn't do my thing because tonight I'm definitely be very conscious of this. Hey, if you're listening, I gotta figure. I'm trying to figure this out. I'm going on a little mini vacay. Hey, next week 7th through like the 10th. I'm trying to figure out like how I want to like, do this. I want to like record, and maybe, I'll do like a video or something really cool while I'm gone. So I'm really conscious of like keeping a regular schedule. 45 minutes, seconds, done. All right. So I just started running the 45-minute clock just to keep me in like the parameters. Hey, email, what's up? Hey. Again, like, do I really have to like type? It's like this automatic response. Like I see someone visually responding to me, so it's the nature of like typing and writing back, but versus like verbally, you can totally hear what I'm saying. Anyway, I'm still figuring this out. Hey, you back, boo. Okay, so in regards to Anne's question, people twittering me up on this piece. Man, that freaking White House Correspondents' Dinner thing. I love how Trump was like, Greg Gutfeld should host next time. And I was thinking, yeah, Greg Gutfeld totally should. Like, I should just do I want to make a note to that. Like, Greg Gutfeld, people ask, even on Sunday, like, oh, there was this, like, what do you think of like certain conservative people, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of gave like certain responses. Again, like if you look at the description I left tonight, because again, I'm going to keep this concise enough that I hit both points. So there's part 1 and part 2 of this video. And I'm already kind of leaving the wheelhouse. So I just saw like a tweet from Greg Gutfeld come up on my phone. And well, it's a tweet about his video today about, the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And, Trump retweeted him today. It's like, Greg Gutfeld should host the White House Correspondents' Dinner next year. And I'm like, hell yeah, he should totally do that. Oh, can you see that? MsArchDuchess shouted me out. Woo-woo. Because she said she left me really like, oh, you guys can see those things. So good. Oh, can you see this now? I wonder how you guys see this thing. Yeah, I can't really tell right now. My distraction. So, I think since I did do a mini 13-minute video like yesterday where I was like, oh my god, I was gonna look for live. That was so cool. Like I told, like, it was just so funny because, like, again, I know I've said this in the previous video. You hear that? It's my like goofy like Salvation Army chair. I bought this desk and a chair from Salvation Army for $10, and it's not the most excuse me, perfect like setup, but it works in my like walk-in heterosexual closet. Someone asked that before, like, it's my walk-in heterosexual closet. So don't you be saying otherwise. Totally hetero up in this piece. So I'm thinking what I should just do is, again, so the thesis of this first part of this video is, should the original question that Ann Vogelpohl posted in the stream, it was like a freewheeling comment. It wasn't like some manifesto, some like, decree given from on high or anything. It was just a thing, and it kind of reiterated with the things I've been kind of suggesting here from the beginning of these videos on this channel. And I was like, whoa, I end up finding myself in a very, I guess, very white okay, I guess I'm being cheeky like that. A white triple parentheses circle, like a very half white, half Jewish, in between, kind of like alt dissident right, whatever circle. And the big thing I kept thinking is, it's weird. Like I kind of like was a little overly self-conscious, and I always am like this, especially like, the funny thing is, if anybody is curious, they tell them, I don't really know what they're up to now on Renegade Broadcasting, but I actually did an interview on Renegade Broadcasting, like this must have been like 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 2, with one of the hosts who I'd met in passing at like a conference. Wink wink, I'll just tell you that much. I met them at a conference, and I'll leave it there. And we ended up like just like chatting online and what have you. He's like, hey, you should come on. I remember that day. I was like running errands. I knew I was going to do it, but I was like busy running around. And then we started talking about the JQ, the race queue. And like, it's weird. Like, this is like the second time I've been interviewed or like in a conversation, like, but because there's 2 things. And this is actually a comment I was leaving to someone very nice who commented saying, hey, you did a great job Sunday. And I was like, my head like I'm always just a little too anxious. I'm just very hyper conscious because there's a black thing, the black question, the BQ, oh, it sounds like DQ. I want like a Frosty right now. I always hated Dairy Queen. Those things are kind of gross to me. Like Cold Stone Creamery is where it's at, or like real custard, but Dairy Queen's kind of gross. But anyway, the BQ is just being black and being, like the there's like a really cool Jew who actually I've met previously. I can maybe tell a story later, but like I just know this person. I mean, I met this person briefly. So the Jew amongst you question is one thing. So like the didn't do amongst you. So it's funny, like all this, like the JQ, especially on like the Luke 4 side of things and his whole stream. It's funny. I thought about this once. I think I told someone, like, well, it's one thing for people just to think that, like, this is gonna sound really shitty, but it's the truth. They can just think I'm a dumb dindu. I could just be a dumb dindu all day. Derp, derp. You can think that all day. I can prove you wrong. I cannot disprove you, whatever. But it's some of these, especially like alt-right, far-righty circles, it's like, but the Jews, like the Hindus, like there's these 3 schools of thought. One is like we're just all these puppet masters of the Jews. Like, hey, I do what the Jew tell me to do. Rawr. Like, like some like Michael Jackson Thriller type. Like, ugh. I can deal with that. Like, I'm just some puppet. Hey, I can roll with that. Like, there's no agency apparently except when it's animated like by electricity by other people, particularly the Jews. I can roll with that. That's like simple. That's a really easy way of looking at things. And then if you just think I'm just some dumb animatron, I can move within that parameter. But then the funny thing is like when it comes to like these Jews, like they're just it's all right. They're trying to take things over, and there's this kind of almost innate like primal like, oh, you're here to subvert, blah blah. So like with them, with the Jews, it's like they're just here to like fuck shit up. Me, I'm just some dumb dindu like twiddling my thumbs like I'm like Bubba and Forrest Gump, like cotton ball shrimp, fried shrimp, beef shrimp, this shrimp, that shrimp. Like, hey, like it's almost an easier place to occupy because there's not a big expectation hurdle. So anyway, that was a fun tangent because I got to reference Forrest Gump. I really loved that movie as a kid. Like it was really fun, like, the way he moves through all those like time periods and phrases and stuff. So anyway, I hope there was something to offer there in that tangent. But I imagine somebody's like, well, like, lady, come on. This is like one of those old desk chairs. Like I keep bouncing my foot against it and like burp, 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 burp. So sorry for all the weird noises in the background. Loud noises. But anyway. So what I think I should just do here is I know I did this yesterday on my like very short video for once. Holy God, like this chick actually found a way to not like be like 80,000 minutes like into a point before I actually get someplace. So it's in here in the destruction in the description. And I guess since I did a little bit of this yesterday, we'll just oh I gotta go back to my girl talk later. That was so cute. I like MsArchDuchess. Like I love like what we're doing in these circles, and like so like actually I mentioned this before, but I think maybe I was kind of pulling back because I wanted to see how this video would go. So in the 13-minute video I just did before this, what I was literally trying to do was just kind of say, hey, I was on here, it's cool, man, look at me, this is fun. So now what I think I'd rather do, oh hey email, I'm trying to get this set up. So if you're listening to this, like I'm not commenting because I need to like let this like get set up, and I'll go back and look and see what you're saying. Just give me a second because I'm trying to stay focused on my manic Monday, and I'm trying to set this live stream up specifically because there's other people I'm going to invite to come look at this. So I have a pen. That comment. I have a pen in the hand. So this time, watching this through is specifically in parts just for certain Black women in certain circles I roll with here, because I think it's a great walking example of what I'm trying to suggest and what Anne Vogelphol's question laid out, and that I kind of want to reiterate in a few instances. And there may be a few things I just stop and say or like LOL, like I sound like a total like goofy ass. So it'll be a little bit of a balance between those things, but that's at the heart of what I'm trying to suggest here. Like, let me show you kind of what things look like when you reach out to different circles and you talk, especially the conversations that we quote unquote have, I think are of value because there's a lot of, but then the hardest part is like feeling like sometimes like, man, nobody really understands what I'm saying here, or this is something kind of new and revolutionary to be sharing. So I'm just going to play bits. I might skip a bit. I might move a bit forward, whatever. We'll just kind of move through. And actually, before that, since you're lighting up the fire waves over here, boo. What's going on? Hey. How did my hand? It was awesome. It's really juicy. Like it was on like the packaging, like, oh, it's gonna be really great and juicy. And I was like surprised. Like I made a little bit of stock. I had like a half an apple, around a couple garlic cloves, and like some onions. So I just put them in a slow cooker and let that go for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half before I even put the bird in. Nice. Some questions for me. Hey, I found Luke Ford. And only Ari and Jared Taylor, do Jim Go and Steve Siller have their own YouTube channels? No! This is imperative for me to say this. I will stop right here. So, email. You should be reading. So you should be reading for Sailor and Goad. If you're on Twitter, or if you want to get like a dummy, like, Twitter account, they're both on Twitter and they both have great profiles. And if you happen to go over, like, I'm on Twitter and I like, retweet, engage with both of them. They're both really responsive. So I think Jim doesn't follow anyone on Twitter, but Sailor follows a bit. And like at that New York Times article, I don't know if you recall, I did a video about this on my channel. And it was really funny because like, all of a sudden, like, I was just kind of engaging people like on like Sailor stream, and it was like, hey man, like this is a way to look at this, especially the whole, she's just I don't want to like, I'll probably end up hashing some of those points, but anyway, it was really fun. So you should like check both of them out because they're awesome. And also, I didn't really clip that link, but Jim was on Luke Ford on Friday. That was pretty rad. It's kind of, I mean, I listen to Luke Ford quite a bit now, within the past like few months, but that was like kind of an eye catcher. I was like, oh no way, like Jim's on. So anyway, let's see what else you have to say. The only thing I found punching them in YouTube machine, yeah, is doing interview speeches. Like, I mean, Jim Gold has a really great sound. He has his own. It's called Group Hug. Again, I have to go grab a SoundCloud link in some place, but Jim Gold Group Hug. I can't remember if it's like 2 words or 1 word. Forgive me for being a boomer. I'm not a boomer, but whatever. Jim Gold has like a really great podcast. So it's funny in the stream. Let me get over to this because like it's funny. Someone was like, "Is that Jim's black neighbor?" Because like he says he has this black woman that lives like in his like he was living on his farm or it's like apartment community or whatever. I don't remember like, and I listened to a few times. She's really cool and like, and someone thought because he had this black neighbor on his podcast. I saw someone in the comment stream go, "Is that Jim Gold's neighbor?" And I was like, no, like all of us black people sound alike. I know, whatever. Da, da, da. Punching. I'm surprised these guys aren't kind of really that nuts. The only thing I never knew was all right was Braving Ruin. I follow Braving Ruin on Twitter. No, they're not cray cray. Cray cray? Not cray cray. I'm not like ethno nationalist or like anti-Jew, but some of the things these guys are talking about aren't that crazy. And the caravan's basically news on Monday and Sunday. Any thoughts on the caravan? Ann Coulter and I think Ramsey Paul actually did a video about it. I haven't gotten to see it, but it came up in my like mentions when I was logging in here to like do my like prep work for tonight. So I probably will have some thoughts at this point. I don't, but Ann Coulter also on Twitter and Ramsey Paul also on Twitter. Rams has a good channel here, but you should get behind his paywall. He does have Patreon, but he does upload videos here on YouTube as well. So they're both commenting on that and probably have more erudite observations to offer than I do. So, all right. So what I'm going to do, let me go back to my, god darn it. It's like my middle school like outline. All right. So again, the thesis of what I'm trying to say is, what I'm doing here is this question. I'm just going to rope it into something a little bit different. she's trying to suggest that Black women in these circles maybe. I mean, I'm putting words in someone's mouth that I really shouldn't. But where I took this was something I'd already kind of outlined previously. Are Black women in these circles better served or additionally served by reaching out to different communities and having other things to say, and maybe talking to other types of countercultures than what we are, because we are kind of a counterculture unto ourselves. And I obviously to flesh this out some other time, but that what we're doing is a kind of a strange Black woman's alt-right, in terms of what we're kind of like these conclusions we're coming to politically, socially, racially, not a word, but genderly discussions. So I'm going to play the original clip. I'm going to skip a little bit more because I think I did a little bit more on the other one, on the earlier video yesterday. So I'm going to walk through it a bit, make a few points, and then we're going to leave this and go over to the introduction of, I haven't given a proper title yet, but like my favorite blog, website, podcast, I dig section. And I'm specifically going to highlight Aryan Skynet because I think on the chat I do like name check stuff Black people don't like in American Renaissance. So if I had to like have like a triumvirate of like 3 things that I really like and have like kind of given me a certain way of looking at the world, I will name all 3 of those. So basically, in a certain sense, I'm kind of playing pickup ball with one of the third references I've read probably and experienced just as long. So we'll just listen a little bit and move through. If I like have some other type of inspiration, I might, move around a bit. So I'm just gonna like feel certain things that I may want to say to like anybody that's coming from Anne or MsArchDuchess or Lady Quiet Storm, other women that I've kind of reached out to and that Tina reaching out to saying, hey, come back and take a look at this video and the original one. And it's just thoughts to share. And it gives me a broader framework to kind of talk about some things with these women that I've wanted to talk about and just say, hey, these are different conversations that we can be having in conjunction with the ones we're having amongst ourselves. So let me just play. I can jump in and out very carefully because, again, this is a concise video. For me, it's 11:05. Let me just take one quick look before we start. Ooh, okay. We're doing good. And maybe we'll see this.
Okay, just can you still hear me?
Yes.
I need my headphones.
Hi. Yeah. So
I need my headphones. Wait. Do earbuds work? I was like, I was like, oh yeah. Sorry, it makes me laugh. Like, can you hear me? Yeah.
on Wyatt. You can just call me Wyatt if you want. That's totally cool. I've been listening to you for quite a bit. Definitely a fan of the leather jacket. I'm really liking this. I want this to like take off for everyone. I think I want to go dig out my leather jacket right now. It's pretty badass.
And how on earth did you find the show and what brings you back?
Oh my god, I'm so like slow.
I don't even at this point. I don't know. This whole YouTube verse is so overlapping. So you probably had on like 5 or 10 people that I totally dig and I totally like, and you had Jim Gold on yesterday, who I'm a huge fan of. You had just had Sticks on. I was driving home listening to the first part of this stream, and I was like, "It's Sticks! Oh my goodness!" So yeah, just kind of found you here, there, and everywhere.
And have you discussed any of the ideas that you've heard with other people, and how did they react?
Oh yeah, totally. I have a pretty small friend circle. Like my 2 best friends they're both like white women, liberal Hillary voters, and they definitely think all this and all y'all, in a big broad circle are kind of insane. It's a hard thing to really discuss sometimes too, because since I'm Black and I'm a woman, it's I don't really know. I don't want to go too much of a weird tangent how to explain that. Like
Hold up. You telling me? Hold up. Someone just called me a boomer in the street. I didn't catch it till yesterday. I was like, You can call me fat. You can call me a dindu, but you don't ever fucking call me no goddamn boomer. I like literally was like, oh, hold up. But I did. I intentionally should have prepped it. I did not look at the stream the whole time because I didn't want to get distracted. Who's the black female boomer? Mm-hmm. Fuck you, Joe Alpha. Them fighting words. Them fighting words. A boomer. I got the vapors up in this piece. Oh, good. So, like, it's funny. Like, I kind of like step on myself. Like, I was trying to express this earlier when I was like commenting to someone about this. I'm like, oh, well, I'm very hypersensitive to like, especially in these circles. Like, I've done it. I said this before a few minutes earlier in the video. Like, I did an interview on like Renegade Broadcasting like maybe a year or two ago, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, with one of the hosts. And I'm very conscious. Like, I know, like, so there's the Dindu question, the DQ. Oh my god, I keep saying DQ. I keep thinking of Dairy Queen. I'm like, Blizzards. I'm like, ew, I hate those things anyway. But in my first part of my like reptilian brain, I'm like, ooh, Dairy Queen. And then I'm like, okay, the DQ, the Dindu question. And then it's like the woman question, like, too many dudes on the periphery scene want to well, I guess they can't white Sharia me because I'm not white. So I don't even know, like, so like, I'm just like, like, I mean, I'm trying to answer questions and be very cognizant, but at the same time, like, I get a little, like, my buddy was telling me yesterday, like, you're way in your head more than other people are. And I'm like, I know. I'm like, because I'm very hyper aware of how people may take me, and I can't do anything about it, but I'm always kind of this idea that I can kind of like not micromanage, that's not the word I'm looking for, but like manage the way I'm like received about certain things. So I apologize for this part because like I just all of a sudden was like, well, yeah, like who are you? What's going on? And I'm like, and like as you hear me most of my live streams, like there's like I had this theater professor, like it was really great in one class one day. This gay white guy, he's like, the one thing about Wyatt, he's like, I go through the same thing. Like I think faster than I can talk. So a lot of times you hear me struggling with like ideas and things coming at me because like my brain turns over a lot faster than speech can keep up. And it's not to, like be some kind of like narcissist, like I'm so like someone call me a big brain nigga or wait, can we not say this on this channel to get flagged? Big brain nib I keep seeing people do this in comments now. Am I something I'm supposed to be doing? Make sure I get flagged because I've totally dropped it the normal way. I don't know. I guess I'll cover my ass. But so like I'm just trying to be too like big brain. It's just, like, I'm just so hypersensitive because I know like if I like today, like I'm sharing to other chicks, like, hey, this is something I did, and like this is something to keep up consideration. Like these are conversations we should be having across the spectrum. I especially the last stream of MsArchDuchess that I'm actually still making my way through. I've listened to probably a good 75% of it. Is like we're kind of all running to the point where there's just not enough other black women to talk to. It's not about like talking about the brothers and talking about the black community shithole. We're kind of all in this point where now like there's those of us who are like-minded enough black women, we get what we get, but we also need to branch out and talk to other people because we already feel a lot of these things, but like we're almost kind of having to put on like our training pants and like move out into the world in different spaces. And so I've been sharing this link just in sense saying, hey, like, no, like it's not anybody threw like a noose out to like lynch me like through like a computer screen. Like some of the things I feel we feel like too many black women feel so fearful of is just a fear that's been programmed. Like I said this once, if not in the video, I've definitely said it like in writing. The mother's milk that too many of us are raised on is like to be this pit bull, like scared of like the man and the white supremacy. Like even when you don't realize that this has been something that's kind of innate in our mostly black women and girl programming, you gotta unpack that shit because it's keeping you hemmed up and not making alliances and allies or just having conversations. Like for me, this is innately like a conversation that I want to be part of because that's just me. But for a lot of other black women or girls down the spectrum, it's maybe not, and it doesn't ever have to be, but it's something that you should be privy to because you need to know how to move in. This term has come up, how to move in other ecosystems. It's become a slightly broader discussion amongst a lot of us in these circles. So there's this idea like we're going to move out, we're going to divest, but you can't just divest and just assume that you're going to carry a lot of like the kind of general Blackistan Black community ideas and just land amongst like whites, especially the way the whites are changing and moving. The whites, the blacks, the whites. It requires unpacking that I don't have time for right now per se. But speaking of, someone just turned me on to. I'm gonna type this in the comment section just so it's there for posterity. Where's the stream? Oh man, I didn't realize I had two different windows open. Holy shit, where did my... Oh, I was just further down the stream. Holy crap. Lieutenant Corbus. This kid is like 13 or something. It's like insane. He's like this, like, the most red pill, like 13-year-old. Corbus. God damn it. Anyway, don't want to like, again, stay into my like platform here. It's interesting knowing that we need to like have other conversations that don't just stay in this kind of circle jerk. Like now, like all the scales are falling from the eyes. Like at first you kind of like hit this red pill Black woman scene. Like it's, who was at the gate, one side loyalties for suckers. We were selling each other to the Arabs and then the white man. And then they'll fall from your eyes. And at first you're looking at, the quote unquote spook who sat by the door, your father, your brother, your uncle, this Black male in the collective sense. But then even in tandem with that, never so slowly, is also your mother, your sister, your aunt, your grandmama, all these Black women in your line who sat by and let these things like keep sliding down the wayside. And then the scales fall from your eyes on that side. So you're kind of left bare and exposed with this like, whoa. So now you're kind of stripped down to the bare minimum and having to make a way in the world with, like-minded Black women who get you, and then probably in a lesser extent, very few like-minded Black men who may, and that's a very big may understand where you're coming from, what you're trying to say, and what you're doing, and where you're trying to move. And again, that's such a like, unicorn happenstance. So it leaves in a way that's very raw and very scathing for us to kind of feel like, well, what do we do? Where do we go? You just move forward and you have to approach the world as, yeah, you're Black and you're a woman. I'm a woman and I'm Black, but I live a life that is so contingent upon 1,000 other things that make me a person, makes me a human, that those two things that, your gender and your race define so much of your existence. But there's also 1,000 other things that on top of that and in conjunction with that make me the person I am. So don't want to meander too much there. Let's jump back into the actual vid and we'll listen to a little bit more. Is that a cat? Four-legged people like to bounce around.
I do discuss these things with people, but then there's always just this kind of like, LOL, what?
She's
like kind of reaction
from
to
the
most
South.
of these ideas when they
Are
hear
those
them
mutually
coming from
exclusive?
someone like me or whatever
South,
that means. So, yeah.
When did you first start investigating these kind of heretical ideas?
Heretical?
Well, my first presidential election was John Kerry, Bush, and I voted for John Kerry because I'm Black and I'm a Democrat, blah, blah, blah. And then I voted for, who was after that? So John Kerry, Bush, I voted for Kerry because I'm Black and you have to vote Democrat. I know, that's like the meme of this past week.
Damn it. I know. I shouldn't be reading. See, I didn't read the stream during the conversation because I knew I'd get distracted. Fucking base. I want to be Murdoch Chan when I grow up. I want to be redheaded, brown-eyed. Okay, no more stream.
But seriously, that was me in 2004. My apologies. I don't know. I think I've always kind of been a race realist. Like, I don't know. Are you anybody familiar with the show The Boondocks, the animated series? Yep. Well, there's that episode where they're like, I think it's the R. Kelly one. It's like in the first season, and He's like, the N-words are crazy. Now, N-words.
Okay, I have to pause here. I only did that because I remember him briefly saying someplace don't use the N-word. And I freaking use that freely on my channel. I was like, oh, I didn't know. Then I constantly remember, he said, don't use the N-word on your channel. I'm like, okay. So I had to like, and then my like little anecdote really sounded goofy. I'm like, the N-words say this about the N-words, X plus N-words, N-Y-Z N-words. And I was like, oh, shit. But I was already talking. So then I was like, oh, it sounds goofy as shit, but I've already watched his anecdote, so meh. So forgive me for sounding like a weirdo. The N-word say this about the N-words. Yeah, but whatever.
Words usually don't like talking about N-words
What
because
you
black
gonna
people may
do?
be listening.
It's
I
other
fear the
people's
truth
house,
may
it's
be
other
out.
people's living room.
So I've always
You
felt that
gotta,
way.
like,
I've always known there's something off in a racial sense, being black, being with other black people. So it's always been there. I would probably say within probably the past 5 or so years, I think the two blogs that really just, or the two websites that just woke me up and just gave me this put me on this path were American Renaissance and Stuff Black People Don't Like. Like, I found those two sites and they just kind of, they just gave me the framework and the foundation to understand things I always had known and kind of felt. And so I would say ever since then, about 5, a little more or so years ago, ... here I am talking to you lovely people on this live stream.
I can't imagine what would it be like, because I assume you're a proud black woman. I assume you love being black, and what is it like in the American Renaissance and stuff black people don't like?
You know what they say about assumptions, Luke? Don't you know?
Sometimes you gotta check these crackers. No, I totally mean that in like a fun way. Like, I'm not gonna check my like sexy like leather jacket wearing Australians. Don't know many Australians, that represent for the kangaroos and them people up in this piece. No, but you see what I was kind of doing? I was being cheeky because I kind of felt where that was gonna come from. Like, oh, I'm not gonna power fist it up for the sisters, because as many of us black women, hopefully, as I pass this link around, what you understand, like, I'm not gonna sit here and be pro melanin. Because the thing is, it's so funny when people ask you that outside of black women circles. Hell, we've come through a fucking 2 weeks of this light skin, dark skin, black women biracial. Sisters saying you done did this to me. You tried to pull my hair when we were like in school. You like ganged up on me when the black boys wanted to date you because you were lighter. There was already no pride. But the funny thing is, this past light skin, dark skin, biracial discussion that we've been having for the past few weeks, Lord, and that's Lord with a T on the end. I even if I wanted to fake it in a discussion like this with a group of white and Jewish men, and a discussion like this on the alt-right periphery amalgamation circle, even if I wanted to fake it, I couldn't fake it after the past few weeks of the shit that black women have been talking about online. My God, I'd be straight up lying, because I can't be proud of a sense that we can't even have a responsible discussion about the fact that light-skinned women and biracial women feel a certain way about certain things. They have their hurts. Even if they haven't directly participated, they have things that they can say that they have, if they haven't been individually culpable in, other women who fit their phenotype have been. And then on the other side of the table, on the other side, I could turn around 360 and say, as dark-skinned woman, have I like felt a certain way? Have other black women who are like dark, me and brown me felt one way? And maybe even if I haven't individually done it, have I been antagonistic towards light-skinned or biracial women? And going to school, have I like kind of laughed and snickered when they were getting like, picked on or like harassed or whatever? We can't even have that conversation responsibly amongst black women without the fallout that we've seen in the past few weeks. So being a proud black woman, Mr. Luke Ford, the sisters over here, I can't do it. Even if I wanted to fake it after this past few weeks, month of the shit that we've been talking about in these very specific black women circles, nah, can't do it. But again, as hopefully I've said this previously, because I've been really running this over my head a lot. We need to have a discussion but I don't think enough Black women are honest enough to come to the table to have it responsibly. I could be a medium brown. Like, if people are like, what do you look like? Because somebody's asking, like, why are you anonymous later? I'm like, well, I want to be like, well, look, you want an idea? Like, I look like Whitney Houston mixed with Michelle Obama. I'm a tall, medium brown, darkish brown Black woman, and I have dimples, and I look at myself in the mirror right now, narcissistic up in this piece. There's just too many discussions about being a Black, brown skinned woman. And I'm glad it's again. I think I've been trying to unpack this. I want to do a video to really come back on this, but like, it's the worst conversation for Black women to be having at the best time, because all these things are bubbling to the surface, but there's too many other discussions that are way more important than the ones that we're trying to like get into right now. But that's totally taking me into a tangent I don't necessarily want to be on right now. So let's get back to the stream. Keep listening. And again, this is just the first half of this, because I'm going to be talking about, I'm unleashing my first like segment of, hey, blogs, websites, podcasts that I love. And tonight's feature is Aryan Skynet .wordpress.com and Hipster Racist, which is also .wordpress.com video. So let's pick it up.
I was just kidding. Well, that's a really funny thing when it comes to like the alt-right, the dissident right, and all these general conversations that people have. Like, especially what you're doing here, you're this Orthodox Jewish person, excuse me, I mean, slur my words there. The very shorthand answer for me individually, yes, I'm Black, and yes, I'm a woman. But there's a couple other things about me that have kind of maybe set me aside and made me different. And in some ways, I don't really. I'm sorry. I started to kind of meander right there, and I think I lost the original.
Okay, what was it? I want to know the emotional experience.
Like retard. Like I just it's again, like I said before, I find myself very like a little nervous because like this is not the first time I've been like on I guess quasi alt-right podcast or conversation, and like I'm hyper conscious. Like it's like I'm not like sitting here like you can hear me like sweating in my shoes. I'm not. I'm just conscious of the fact that I'm a woman and I'm here talking about this shit, and I'm like also a Black person. And then in these scenes that are overwhelmingly white and male, then me and Sir, what's her name? The Jewish person, like, to look forward to stream needs to become done to be more multi. Dude, there's the best stream comment. Someone later like starts like shit posting him like, oh, his like Schwarza girlfriend, like Luke Forrest learning to be more multiracial, like multicultural, and I like laugh. What's in the Barbara Lerner Specter? Yeah, Barbara Lerner Specter. Someone's like, this is learning to be more multicultural. And I was like, I don't necessarily want to be that way. Like I get really angsty because like I know like I just like when you hear stuff on camera too and talking, like I'm just gotten comfortable hearing myself like live streaming like this. I'm like, look at me. I'm like, I don't like the way my voice sounds. I hear it later on and I'm like, wow, who is that like weirdo Fargo extra? Like I'm like extra from Fargo mixed in with like I don't know something. But anyway.
Experience. What was it like reading American Renaissance?
Well, first, it really just answered a lot of like, questions about things that I always had kind of known and kind of felt about being Black and why there might be some problems or why we, in a general sense, have the problems that we have in the first world and what we are. So emotionally, it was just this kind of big relief. Like, I think one of the hardest things that I think Black, and I'm not trying to speak for all Black people,
no, he didn't.
So I want to do that in my podcast. I
can't imagine streaming on Black camera. I like to step away and like.
So instead of the white man and he evil or white supremacy or all these other things, when you look at maybe the human biodiversity question, you look at the IQ question, you take a broad swath, the broad outlook of history. There's answers to these things that. Something like American Renaissance just kind of frees you up. You can have like a discussion and look at the racial differences within a framework. I'm kind of stepping on how I want to answer that because it's.
Yeah, I was totally stepping on what I really wanted to say. And like it gets hard when like I understand, like I know what I'm trying to empathize or emphasize, but like and I'm like at this point I'm like really like I want to be very clear and concise. I don't want to meander too much. And see, this is the thing about being on a podcast or a stream with other people versus you and me just like talking into like the comment section that I've only discovered like a week ago because I'm like a boomer dindu and I didn't understand things were. So you can hear the wheels turning in my head, and I'm like it's like behind the music VH1 episode. I'm telling you, like, man, I was playing that like Gretsch White Falcon on stage, and you just didn't know what was going on in my head, man. But anyway, let's give you guys that like feedback. Anywho,
It's kind of a big question. I have an answer to it, but I'm kind of struggling to explain it. It was good overall. And it still is good.
Oh shit! Before we go further, because this is the half of the reason I did like a mini 13-minute video. So sisters, listen to this. That I'm dropping the link to come listen to this. So I'm actually glad I'm doing this first before I go drop them out to make sure I do this right. Oh, as right as I like it to be. Well, I guess this is like the crux I'm trying to say is like there's before like even coming over to like anybody else's circles and having discussions. This is like the big thing that I wanted to push. Like, okay, I'm just gonna outline this in 2 points, and I can always come back and flesh this out better later. I was like thinking, I've been thinking this for like maybe probably the last 3 or 4 or 5 months. Like, we need a version of like, I'm not just in the miles off look for a live stream. There's a lot of people who stream live and who do whatever, like 5 or 6 different people come in out of Google Hangout. But like, I feel like that's one thing that's missing. Like, I would love to see like MsArchDuchess and Lady Quiet Storm and Virgo Sun and Ann X and Kristlyn or Simone, all the women and other people, Egypt Ann, whatever, like any of us just like hopping on the stream, like look at them. It's like about 1, 2, 3, 4 dudes plus me. Oh no, shit. I've been detangling a necklace this whole time. It's a great place store for my like nervous energy. God damn it. Oh, it just fell apart. Fucking Payless. Fuck. Whatever. You heard that? I just threw it across the room. I threw it across the closet. Shit. I bought that for $7 at Payless. I'm disappointed. I want my money back. Anyway, like getting on a stream together and just like talking and maybe we like bring in someone to like chat with, or it's like I've been thinking of this, and that's one thing I said before. Like I just dropped a note to Luke like, hey, I really want to like come on, like you remind me of something that I'm like really #goals oriented about, and this is something that if anyone like hopefully is listening and that I'm going to share this link with, like this is especially with Black women, these little circles that we're kind of running around. This is what we should be doing. We should be talking to each other online and like Google Hangout circuit format and just chatting with each other and like bringing up different subjects, bringing people in and out who want to chat with us. And I think so much of like the 1.0 version of us on YouTube, quote unquote, has been dominated by everyone having their own channel, uploading videos. Some people who just do like the short, like 10-minute hey, and people who maybe do 1 hour, 2, 3+ hour things. But there's not a lot of integration. But that's just talking to us. I mean, like, I bet there's things that like Sister X versus Sister Y are going to disagree about, or T versus W, whatever. Like, I like the format that Luke Ford posits here because particularly it's the one thing that really enamored me initially with his channel and his streams and the lovely people, like Dennis and Bruno Fly and Monic and the whole gang, is that there's just different voices just coming together to kick it and talk and flesh out ideas, go back and forth on current events of the day that pertain to themselves and the general, like, white Jewish, etc. XYZ circles. This is something that I've like, it's so funny because like I found myself actually dipping my toe in this. But again, like this isn't my first time per se. That's why this made me laugh. Like, I was like thinking about like that Renegade interview. Like, I'm like, ooh, I was sitting outside. Like, I was going home, but this is back when I didn't have a car, so I was taking the bus. I knew we were going to go live, but I thought it might fall apart for some reason. So I was like out running errands a little too. I remember I was at Whole Foods. I was bouncing around, and so I ended up like doing that interview like behind like some restaurant. Like I was just sitting there having a smoke, and I'm like, it was luckily very quiet. So when I listened to the interview later, it wasn't like crazy or anything. But anyway, before I go back in, what I'm just trying to emphasize is, and also anybody looking, I'm not looking at the comments right now because I want to finish this point. Then I'll jump back in, let it play a little bit longer. We're going to wrap it up here on this because I did talk about this in my last video, and I'm just trying to make this specifically towards some of the sisters in my circles and people I overlap with. I'm just trying to impress upon them. What I'm going to keep reiterating is this is things we should be doing. If part of it is like, I don't really want to talk to other like non-Black women, that's totally cool. And I totally understand that, because I'm going to leave the link, and the links are in the description if you go look at it. I got banced. I guess I'll have to like give you a very remedial version, like the term bants. It just means like banter. It's like a very reduced down version of the word banter. So bants, like a Z on the end. It's like people are gonna bant you as a Black woman. I have people ask me like, "Oh, it's gonna be great." Like, "Oh, we haven't got to that point yet." How fat I am, and I'm not fat. I'm actually very tempted to do something a little bit bold. I'm not fat, and I want people to know I'm not fat. And I'm going to Punta Cana next week, and I might like post a picture of myself in a bikini, face shaded because I got security reasons. But you can't be thinking I'm fucking fat. I'm that vain as a woman. If you think I'm fat, fuck you. Because I've been working really hard. I haven't had pasta in like 2 months. I haven't had bread in like 2 months. I am not fat. The trauma. But seriously, go, if anybody, sisters or sisters not alike, go back and watch the comment stream. Like, Amazon, somebody called me like base Black. Someone called me a boomer. Again, that's some fighting words. I'm glad I didn't watch the comment stream during this. I would have gotten distracted and been like, throw my like laptop across the room. But anyway, closing point before I go back in, sisters. This is something we could be doing. Like I could see like me and like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's like 5 people on right now, including myself. Like I could see us like just chatting on a Thursday night or any night. Like, hey, like blah blah blah. Like this is like what so like part of this is like going on to go into this sphere, which I'm very comfortable with because I am more politically, socially, culturally aligned with these circles than anyone else. Not anyone else. I just mean personally in myself and my own way of seeing the world. But I kind of look at it as a mirror back to like, man, like MsArchDuchess, Lady Quiet Storm, Sinji, and oh no, I didn't mean her. Well, if she turned her tide, no, I was like, I got Black woman in my head, and I was like, anyway, tangent, stop. Let's jump back in. There's a part 2 that I'm really happy to debut tonight. Can't keep going too much. I'll have a chance to reiterate these points. Blah, 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 blah.
Do you feel like any kind of like they're talking about me, they're attacking my identity?
Funnily enough, like, the whole affirmative action thing, I guess that's a good example I can give. I went to college. I'm from the upper Midwest. I still reside here. Went to a private Midwestern college. And I remember early on reading American Renaissance, and the affirmative action question or discussion comes up in a couple different articles. And it took me a bit to piece it together. And I remember stopping to go, oh my goodness. Like, that's a very criticism. That's a very valid one about
that's
how
I kind of meant to say, but I just didn't want to step on myself.
In terms of pushing non-whites and maybe women into academia and other positions, etc. So for me personally, I didn't feel it to be an attack. I can look at that unto itself as one thing, but on the other hand, I think about someone like myself who grew up in like the typical like kind of metrics, an unmarried Black woman who was in her 30s. Dated my dad briefly, who I didn't meet until I was like 27, which is about 5 or so years ago. And so then I look up and I'm like, well, I didn't want to be the kid, with a couple of babies in the hood. I didn't want to be some idiot. Like there are a lot of the affirmative action kids that are there on some like goofy ass, African American studies degree, or just there to throw like a sports ball around for like 4 years on someone else's dime. yeah, I get that, and that is frustrating. But someone like me, at least in looking back at that time, I was like the 4.0 public school kid and was a poor black kid, and I wanted to be there. But this actually, we got to like other arguments with my good white liberal friends about this. I was like, well, I want to be someplace because I should be there because I deserve to be there. And this is even before we get into like financially growing up poor. I had no idea what I was really fighting off going to college. But so the affirmative action thing is just.
I can't even say poor. Like someone told me that at school, like in college, like you don't say poor. It's not poor. It's poor. And I was like, oh, poor. And I hear myself saying that back. I'm like, I've only really started saying it that way over the past few years. It just sounds really goofy. Angsty girl. Again, like I said, I'm hyper conscious because I like, and this is the first time I've ever had like an alt-right podcast discussion. It's maybe the the second time. So like, and you go read the comments, so you're like, who's that weird Dendu chick? Nah. So it's the Dendu thing, and it's a chick thing. It's the Dendu. It's the DQ question. The blizzard with Oreo bits, pieces inside. God damn it! This is what happens. Y'all have sugar for like a month. Except for like booze, like wine. I'm drinking white wine right now, just a little bit because I've had a long day. But so it's the Dendu question, and then it's the woman question, and you sync it up into one. I'm very hyper conscious of things, so like I'm just all angsty, like, and I'm really like relaxed. I'm not sitting there like gnawing on my like sleeve or anything, but I was just sitting here in the same closet, like sipping wine, like it's like like and being black and being a chick, yo. Oh yeah, here we. I guess sister girl later on. It's like a little sister girl. So I know how to. It's like a spice. You dash a little bit, but not too much, but enough when people don't expect it. Because like I know how to talk in any way, shape, or form. Anyway, so just keep listening. It's really. I think this is interesting to hear me. Like is me. Like this is why I want other people to talk to and hear me. I have to ask some people, wink, wink, in my chat to come on and like talk. So like. I have some barometers to work against. I'm not just me like out here like because that's that's so appealing to me. Like anyway, let's keep going.
So that
I'm in the comment section right now.
Just as I kind of very hurriedly just
They're
said,
like, what? Why is this woman on here? Like so it's I was listening to it later in the day. I actually played it for like my liberal friends. Like I can tell you about the experience. Like they were kind of very interested. Like I was like, hey, I was on this live stream. Like, oh, like because her husband does like a live stream. Like it's a very interest focused thing. I'm not gonna say anything more than that. I'm not gonna dox my friends or anything. But he's like, I want to hear it because they use Google Hangouts for their shit. And he's like, oh, and they were both at the end. Like I played this and they were like, interesting. I kind of like slowly dropped them in the beginning, like, oh, my liberal Hillary voting friends. And they were like, oh, okay. Anyway, they think y'all crazy.
There's a couple
y'all crackers crazy
to that question that also come into play.
What did you major in?
I was always a theater kid. Like I went to arts high school. I did theater. Probably like from middle school through high school. So I decided to be an accounting major. General business. Oh, really nice. Now, granted, for a lot of reasons, that didn't hold up so well for very long. But I was always a theater minor. I left school for a year, just overwhelmed, a lot of personal issues, and then I came back and I.
Oh wow! And we just.
This when I started giraffing out, like, oi, they. These crackers and these multiple balls onto me. I got to get the fuck out of here and smoke a crack rock. Not really, but we'll just play through it. I just inject my shit bag joke.
Foster. But Brindlefly, she's interesting and she's not completely rare. There are a lot of race realist blacks. And but she's certainly an interesting personality. I wonder why she has to be anonymous. I wonder.
Why would you wonder that, Mr. Australian? Yeah, you Orthodox Jews trying to dox a hoe in this piece. See, I was dropping out of this, so I didn't get to hear this stuff until like after I got to listen to it later. I'm interesting. Yay. Yay. Me interesting. Do you want to hear about my cat? And like, yeah. Aw, I feel loved.
What opinion she holds that are off the map, but that was fun.
That was. I'm sure she'll. Hopefully, we can get her back on another time. I think it would be interesting to get a black guest on. We don't have a lot of those.
We could learn to be multicultural.
Oh, she's back. So,
someone commented me later, like, Luke Ford has learned to be multicultural. Look at the stream, like, Luke Ford has learned to be multicultural. And later somebody's like, hey, you want to base, because you know the meme. Okay, sisters, coming into this scene, let me just drop this for you. There's a joke about race mixing, the difference between Jews and whites, because whites aren't Jews, Jews aren't whites. And there's this like kind of long running joke. Like if any of you ever like even anonymously, maybe just find a way to anonymously message me. You want me to explain some of these things, or like go in depth, you don't feel comfortable, even comment below. The funny thing is like, well, it's okay for the Jews to race mix, but not white people to race mix. Because someone later is like, it's so cute. Like, I think Luke just found his base black girlfriend, wife, person. But I left early and kind of like, I want him an analytical chick to like fall in love. I just love her. Like, I was in her live stream earlier. She just ended 50 minutes worth of work. And I was like, oh my God, it's her. She's been on here before. She's so cute. I love her voice when she talks. Like, I'm like, I would love to meet her. Like, she's got this whole, like, she sounds like a chick I would love to hang out with, like in New York. Like, let's go out for lunch and like just kick it and blah, blah, blah. But so someone said that, like, yeah, you know, we just found Luke's base Jewish, base black girlfriend. I'm like, I did not watch the live stream until I was done because I just knew I was going to be too distracted. And she went back. Shut her down. Oh my God. I was getting so banned to the comments. It was awesome. Bance works. And it's good. Later someone asked me that. She sounds sassy. I sound like a fucking Valley Girl, awkward, like neurotic black chick. I'm like, come on. Anyway, how about this? I'll do a quick pause now. Because the thing is, like, I think black women, like, I think that's our biggest fear. We know that people feel these ways about us and they think, oh, you know, and the thing is, half of it in these circles is bants. And they can hear you talking, you're talking in a conversation. They're totally fine with you. But the inclination is to banish you about black women, big asses, fat, baby mamas, roll your neck like them motherfuckers need Jesus. And like, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, it's like a trial by fire that you just have to move through. And I care in like maybe a 10% sliver. Like, I was listening to Daily Show today, by the way. And Daily Show was like on about this like thing, like, again, somebody's leaking it behind the paywall. And I ain't hating because I ain't paying them. Because should I leak this in my like stream? Well, I don't know when or how, but I was in the same room as some of the people from TRS, and they like kind of like shady danced me on their channel after a certain conference, and they're like, "Oh, that didn't do." And I would love to be on the same stream as Mike Enoch and be like, "Oh, I know why you got triggered by a dindu, because you know seeing me as a full dindu, I like triggered you because you have a half black brother dindu." I remember when that whole thing broke. I was like, I laughed for like 15 minutes. I was like, because I love him. Think about Mike Enoch. You can love him or hate him, but the man, he can argue and make really coherent points. And he moves so well between like different arguments. Even when you can maybe get annoyed with Mike Enoch, you can say what you want to say about Enoch, but like the fucker is like, I would love to I like just hearing him like move through points and debate. Even when like you can agree, disagree, whatever. That's something you have to give Mike Enoch. And like a lot of people who roll with the TRS crew, you know, I was watching some old videos recently. I think I doxed myself and saying like I had a crush on Jesse because he's like totally cute. He reminds me like he's like the kind of like the prototype a lot of like the white guys I've always been in love with like in high school and like college. And I was like, and I was watching like some old videos. And I was like, oh my God, I like this. Like on like Saturday or Friday, I was like, and I was like begging the cats, like, you guys hear like secret guys? I was being a total girl. I'm like, oh, well, I'll just play it again. So like, oh, I think he's really cute. I was like, oh, dude, it was like too much fucking. That's a comment below. Too much Petite Sarah, baby. I was like kicking it. I was like and then 3 people was dancing. We were kicking it in the like stream, and I was like, oh shit. But it's fine. I mean, whatever. I mean, it's not like, ew, some dirty do thinks I'm cute. Well, dude, like, like, dude, I'm like actually propping you up versus. I mean, if you knew how sexy I was, like, it wouldn't even fucking matter. You'd be like, damn, I'm glad that hoe was like, hey. Anyway, I'm like way too up in this shit right now, but it was so funny. Like, I have like a lot of like funny things rolling through the cycle right here. But anyway, so in closing to this little subset, sisters, these are fun circles. You gotta know how to dance. You gotta defend yourself. And it's like I think it's a way for Black women to put themselves up in a certain sense, especially sisters. Because email, you're like commenting right now, and I'm reading your comments, and I want to get back into what you were saying. I'm thinking you don't have to stay up and listen to my meandering. Because again, maybe I'll take a break between. We're literally towards the end of me being on this stream. And I want to address like 2 things. One thing you said about how some Black women do circles a little bit more towards the left, some more towards the right, some can kind of roll with certain things, some don't. That specifically I think deserves a little bit of time. Just like a moment or so for me to like specifically address. So I'm not looking at the stream right now. That is I learned from Sunday. I have to just like kind of sometimes split the difference. And I can come back in and quick read and get back in and dance with your brother. Dance with my baby. I just let them all. I'm getting high with my baby. Yeah, no, I just quoted that like shitbag rapper, but that song is like nice. So you can like flow anything in and out as you want to say. But anyway, back into the fryer, baby.
Why do you feel that you need to be anonymous? What opinions do you hold that are, not?
Because I'm a Black woman in America, and like none of them really knew my channel. They just saw me show up in the comments the night before Jim Go was on. I was like, oh my god, Jim Go's back, and I haven't mentioned I'm Black. And somebody's like, it's a Black dude who wants to get on. And I'm like, I'm not a Black dude, I'm a chick. And it's like, I got a lot of things to protect. Like, I ain't about to be out here on these streets. And most of the Black women who roll in these circles with me, they're not out here. So I'm not, casting. I'm not trying to be like, why'd you say that, cracker? I'm just like, it's funny because like, oh, why don't you just sit here? Yeah. You're the one with the like sexy ass Jeff Goldblum avatar. Oh, I get to tell like how much I was in love with Jeff Goldblum as a little girl. You're gonna hear me tell people how like I'm on my crushes, yo. It's coming.
Acceptable to the mainstream.
It's coming, boo. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming up in the sky. I'm such a weirdo.
Interestingly enough, like I've write a bit, but not that much, and I really just started making videos too, kind of in the past month or so.
Yeah.
I think at some point, maybe it would be something to kind of. I don't know. I mean, it's weird because I think originally, especially like when I was kind of like